All right, so this is called PESTLE. I'm sure you all heard about this, or you knew this, or you applied this, right? So it's very popular, but basically for the macro environment, so you have PESTLE analysis: political, legal, environmental, technological, and social, right? So economical analysis. When you have like an acronym, I think I went other way around. So yeah, political, economical, social, technological, environmental, and legal aspects. So those are all macro level, country level, even like global level type of things, right? So it's not something that you can control. To be honest, if you have enough money, you can control country level things as well, right? So by lobbying and stuff. But yeah, normally you cannot. And then when you go down to your micro environment, we are looking at the category that you are in, okay? So and then looking at the competition. So you, of course, customers. You are competing for customers, but also suppliers. Do you have an edge on suppliers, or you are a very small player, you accept the terms whatever they say? Okay, so suppliers, because in some industry they have like huge control, huge power of suppliers, and then you need to rely on them. And yeah, so that's the other part. Then distributors, do you have your own sales network, or you need to rely on distributors? Okay, so that's also part of competition. And then overall other competitors, because they will also compete with you in terms of distribution and suppliers as well. Okay, so this is the micro level analysis that you need to do. And then finally, you need to look at the company level, internal level analysis. So do you have money? Do you have talent? Do you have other resources and everything? Okay. Yeah.
How does it differ from Porter's 5 forces then?
Porter's 5 forces is actually macro level analysis. We are going to talk about this soon. So Porter's 5 forces is macro level, and then again Porter's value chain analysis, company level, internal capability analysis, company level, and then PESTLE is the macro level, and then we have SWOT, for example. It's both macro and then micro level analysis, right? So actually internal capability analysis, so it's like a different levels. Good question. All right, so yeah, PESTLE, Porter's 5 forces, like I said, for the macro level analysis, we are using this in general. And internal capability analysis and Porter's value analysis, we are using it for company level analysis. And for example, what type of factor is this? So fewer weddings hit most pro suite rentals. It's a social, right? It is because you don't know the exact reason, but people don't get married anymore, right? So that's the social phenomena. They like to, maybe keep it casual or live together instead of getting married, and it affects your business. So what should they do? Right? So they are losing money because people used to go to weddings and they used to buy these formal dresses, suits, and everything, but they are not doing it anymore. So what should they do? There's the starting point. There's the change in social aspect, macro level. So what we can do about this? And that is the strategy point. And then you need to look at the other alternatives, do maybe market research, either expand your business, start rental for other activities. So you think of like, some solutions, and then of course you need to know whether you can do that or not. Right? So rental business is a totally different business. Can you actually make it happen in your stores or not? Right? So that is the starting point. Sometimes something changes in the market, and then you need to adapt for that. You need to revisit your strategy, even if you don't want to, right? Yeah, so when you do the PESTLE analysis for macro environment, of course, not everything affects you equally, okay? So that's why when you look at the changes in this political, economic, social, technological, legal environment, you need to look at the event, what happened, and what's the implication, and what is it going to be like a certain? Are you sure it's going to happening or not? Right. So from 1 to 5. So how, because you are planning ahead. Okay. You see some danger. You hear something, and then other part is also important. So how important this is for your business? Bless you. What is this? And then based on that, you will plan your strategy. Right. So you will also plan your resources. You said, okay. So let's think about. I don't know, so this has 5 and the certainty is 4, let's focus on that part, okay? So let's say you have a business in Japan, and you know that like earthquakes happen, sometimes tsunamis happen, and you know that it's gonna happen, but you don't know when, and then impact is gonna be huge. But certainty is one problem, right? So because you don't know when it's gonna happen. And then it's not top priority for your business to address, but maybe you should still think of a contingency plan if it happens, because the important is really important, right? So this is 5. When it happens, it affects your business. Another example, Uber needs to consider political and legal risk while entering a new market. Because in so many countries, Uber is not legal. Turkey, for example, right? So Uber is not legal because there is a really big lobby of taxi drivers, and they affect the political decisions. And Uber was legal, and the taxi drivers said that we are losing business, and their lobby actually won that for them, and now it's not legal. So Uber actually is a kind of a taxi app in Turkey. You can call a taxi from Uber, but you cannot actually call an Uber. And what should Uber do, right? So what should Uber do in that case? Should they also lobby back against taxi drivers because they have the power to do that, or should they just go along with it? How should they? Because they actually seize their operation and it cost them a lot of money at the time, because they have agreement and everything. But yeah, so now next time they enter a new market, they need to look at the power of taxi drivers or alternative transportation. So because it might cost them a lot of money again. Yeah, so apart from PESTLE analysis, we also have microenvironment analysis, Porter's 5 forces. So for the Porter's 5 forces, like I said, so overall rivalry in the market, the overall competition in the market is the other competitors is actually one factor. But what they are competing on is the power of buyers, customers, right? So your customers, who is the powerful here? So if in FMCG, customers always, right, you need to just try to get customers' attention, but sometimes in B2B settings as well, if there's a big, huge buyer, like government, and then the government is also very powerful, you need to go with their turn, right? So you cannot actually force your turn for your business. And the power of suppliers, again, if you are a really big business, you might change your supplier easily because you are a big consumer for them. But if you are a small business, then you cannot get good deals or good prices from suppliers, and suppliers might, I don't know, postpone the deliveries or shipment because they are looking for, they are looking at the big competitors as well. So your power against bigger suppliers is not that much, and then you need to be careful about that.
Or if you operate in an environment where there are few suppliers.
Yeah, so if the suppliers are not that many, exactly. And then threat of substitution. Also, is there any rivalry or competition that you think is coming to the market or already in the market that can substitute your product? Okay, that is also, maybe it's not direct competition, right? So directly, it's not in your category directly, but you ignore them, but suddenly they are getting some sales, stealing some sales from you. And then threat of new entrants. How easy to enter that market?
Barriers to entry.
Yeah, so sometimes it is so easy. Think of the games, mobile games. It's not that hard, right? So even a couple of computer scientists or graphic designers, they can develop a game. And sometimes it doesn't have to be really complicated, advanced or fancy games. Like I think a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, Angry Birds, for example, very simple game. They got a lot of money and they increased increased their company overall. They even made a movie out of it in the end, right? So, but they started really small, actually. Yeah, so then you need to be careful about that as well. You need to always stay on top of your business and look out for the other entrants too. So this is micro level, competition level environment.